Nintendo was founded in 1889 and has a long and illustrious history spanning over 130 years. And the corporation has undergone major changes over the years, both in terms of its products and its brand identification. Let's take a look at Nintendo's history, beginning with its humble beginnings as a playing card manufacturer. Before we begin, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and press the bell icon. Throughout the 1980s, a number of game and watch devices were released. And, like other handhelds at the time, they were hugely popular. The first was created after Nintendo employee Gunpei Yokoi noticed a businessman on the Shinkansen playing with his calculator, and felt the company should create a portable gaming machine to assist pass the time on the ride. There was just one game available to play on each game and watch, and there were roughly 60 in all. Some were based on arcade machines and were responsible for introducing large licenses and gaming characters into the house, such as Donkey Kong, The Legend of Zelda, and Mario Bros. Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, 1983–1995. Nintendo's next platform need little introduction. The NES was a home console that played 8-bit games. It was by far the best-selling console of its time, selling over 60 million units, and it aided North America's recovery from the 1983 video game collapse, which saw an overabundance of consoles flood the market and personal computers grow more powerful. Game Boy, 1989–2003. The Nintendo Game Boy is another of gaming's all-time great consoles. The Game Boy, created by the same team that created the Game & Watch, combines elements of the first portable with swappable cartridges like the NES to create one of the best-selling consoles of all time. The Game Boy and Game Boy Color, both released in 1998, are expected to have sold 120 million units. Super Nintendo Entertainment System, SNES, 1990–1998. Despite stiff competition from the Sega Mega Drive, Nintendo's second major home platform was likewise a smashing success. Although Sega's system was the first to be introduced, it was Nintendo's selection of games that helped it become the best-selling console of the 16-bit period, with approximately 50 million units distributed worldwide. Nintendo manufactured multiple versions of the console for different markets, with the Super Famicom being the Japanese version. It also encoded the cartridges so that you couldn't play games from one nation on a console from another. Virtual Boy, 1995–1996. The SNES was followed by an odd and ultimately catastrophic console release, yet it is remembered warmly as the predecessor of virtual reality in the home. To play wireframe 3D games, players had to lean into the visor of the Virtual Boy, which stood on a table or cabinet. Unfortunately, rather than providing a space-age experience, most players left feeling sick, and the notion was abandoned. Its lifespan is measured in months rather than years, and it never left Japan or the United States. Nintendo 64, N64, 1996–2003. The N64 got its name from the 64-bit CPU it used and was Nintendo's last home console to require cartridges. It was successful when it launched, with many customers fighting to get their hands on one, and was deemed the most powerful console of its generation. A large part of its success can be put down to the games Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time and GoldenEye 007 are still regarded as some of the best titles in history. Nintendo GameCube, 2001–2007. For the GameCube, Nintendo chose the optical disc format, but it faced stiff competition from the Sony PlayStation 2, Microsoft Xbox, and Sega Dreamcast. Game progress could be saved to memory cards ranging in size from 4 MB to 64 MB, and the controller was modified from the N64's 3-handled form to a 2-handled model for the GameCube. However, it was a flop. Game Boy Advance, 2001–2008. Nintendo opted to replace the Game Boy concept with a more capable device with improved visuals, and a wider color palette available to developers. During its 7-year lifespan, the Game Boy Advance underwent multiple redesigns, culminating in a return to the clamshell design of the original Game & Watch devices for the Game Boy Advance SP. That peculiarity may even be considered as a prelude to the Nintendo DS, which would arrive soon after. Nintendo DS, 2004-2014. Introduced a revolutionary new dual-screen arrangement based on the original Game and Watch. The lower display had a touch screen and could be used to control games, whilst the top display was simply an LCD screen that showed what you were doing. Nintendo Wii, 2006-2013. The Wii was Nintendo's entry into the 7th generation of home consoles, competing against the Sony PlayStation 3 and Microsoft Xbox 360. The Wii introduced a new era of motion gaming by tracking the Wii Remote in three-dimensional space. It later released the Wii Balance Board, which was utilized in fitness games. For a long period, it was the most popular living room machine due to its family-friendly design and game releases. Nintendo Wii U, 2012-2016. The Wii U was the Wii's successor and Nintendo's response to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It is the first Nintendo console to feature high-definition graphics, and it is primarily operated via the Wii U gamepad, which has a touch screen. While the Wii U received excellent reviews at first, it has since been deemed a gaming flop, selling just over 13 million units since its release. NES Classic Mini, 2016-2017. Retro gaming has grown in popularity, and in anticipation of the Nintendo Switch release in early 2017, the Japanese gaming giant enabled gamers young and old revisit some of its best early games with a miniature version of the original NES console. It included 30 Nintendo Entertainment System titles as well as an authentic style controller with a modern HDMI adapter. Nintendo Switch, 2017. So we come to the Switch, which was initially released in March 2017. It consists of a tablet-like device with a touch screen and a docking station for playing it on a TV at home. So it's portable for playing while out and about, but it also works at home. The Joy-Con controllers are little pads that may be placed on either side of the screen. They can also be plugged into a central home controller unit to give the proceedings a more joypad-like feel. Nintendo's first-party titles have been extremely popular on the system. Over 20 million units have been sold for The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Pokémon Sword and Shield, and Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Unlike the Wii U, the Switch has been a huge success, selling 79 million devices by the end of 2020. There have also been various special editions, such as the Mario Red and Blue version from 2021. Super NES Classic Edition, 2017-2018. Following the popularity of the NES Classic Mini, the Super NES Classic Edition was released in 2017 and, like the NES Classic Mini, was a big hit. It sold over 5 million units before being phased out at the end of 2018. Because there were 3 separate versions of the original SNES in Japan, North America, and Europe, there were 3 different versions of the SNES Classic Edition. 21 Super NES titles were pre-installed, including the 1995 cancellation of Star Fox 2, which is now available for Switch. Nintendo Switch Lite, 2019. The Switch Lite is a version of the Switch that lacks the separate Joy-Cons and the dock that allows the Switch to be connected to a television. Instead, the unit is intended to be completely portable. It has fixed controls and is now available in 4 colors, as well as special editions, most notably for Animal Crossing. Nintendo Switch OLED model, 2021. Despite years of rumors, Nintendo has yet to release a Switch Pro, but it did release an updated version of the Switch in 2021. The OLED variant features a vastly enhanced display with deeper blacks and more vivid colors, while the console is more durable and includes a lot superior kickstand for playing on the go. In a nutshell, it's the latest and greatest from Nintendo, as well as the best Switch version available. This was the evolution of Nintendo. We hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for more videos about the evolution of things. Thank you for watching.